Welcome to Pebbles of Light. I'm your host, Ann Maxon. Have you ever felt a bit lost during the dark times of life's challenges? I know I have. I'm so grateful for those friends, loved ones, and even strangers that have provided me a pebble of light in the form of understanding and support. They've blessed my life, sometimes even more than they know. Seeing a little bright spot on the path has helped me to move forward when things are difficult. This show is here to celebrate those who add light to our lives. We will share some of their stories as well as ways in which to light the paths of others. Please come find me on Instagram and Facebook at Pebbles of Light, as well as at ammaxon.com. I love having the opportunity to interact with you and hear about those who've added a pebble of light to your path. Enjoy the show. Welcome to episode 5 of Pebbles of Light. If you missed last week's episode, you should go give it a listen. I talked with Erin, Gurney, and Jessa, Sebastian about finding the friends you need and those that need you. This week, we finished the conversation with Erin and Jessa, and we'll talk about the importance of effort and vulnerability in friendship. Instead of a review this week, I want to share one of my favorite pebbles of light that I've heard about so far. Last Friday, I was waiting in the school parking lot when I received a text from my son's teacher, Erin. She's been a teacher to our kids for the past 4 years, so we've gotten to know each other pretty well. Her text said, "Guess who I just got a letter from?" I had no idea. The answer was Linda Maxon, my mother-in-law. She recognized Erin as a pebble of light in our family's life and took the time to write her a letter and let her know how much she appreciated her. Just a portion of what she shared said, "We appreciate how much you love and have been a powerful force for good in their lives. They will look back on the years they have spent in your classroom with great appreciation and fondness." It not only made Erin's day, but it made my day. Who can you reach out to today with even just a quick text to let them know how much you appreciate them? Now, a quick announcement. Our family loves playing board games and card games. We have frequently been asked what games are our favorites. Just in time for the holidays, we decided to put together a gift guide with information on all our favorite games. Head over to my website, annmaxon.com, that's ANNEMAXSON.com, to get your copy of our gift guide. Happy shopping! We made that game gift guide short and sweet with our tried and true favorite games. We made sure to keep it pretty unique, so it isn't all the same games that you already have. Go check it out and reach out and let us know what your favorite games are so we can try those too. Our pebble last week was to think about a quote from C.S. Lewis that was in the show notes about divine direction and friendship and relate it to the friendships that you've made. Recognize and document the non-coincidences in those friends who have come into your life. I hope you've been able to do that. This week, we'll talk a little bit more about strengthening those friendships. So let's jump right into the conversation. So what have you done to kind of continue those important friendships as you've moved around to kind of keep in touch with people and keep those going as you continue to make new friends? Erin, you want to go first?
Yes, I just have to add that Anne is the best at keeping in touch with friends. I've moved all around the valley, I guess you would say, and she is so good. I've lost touch with certain people, and when I see them, I'm so happy to see them. But Anne is amazing at keeping in touch. So I completely forgot the question. I just was wanting to tell that so
what
much.
What do you do to keep in touch? But I mean, for me, okay. I guess I don't know if I keep in touch with everybody. So it's interesting. Just a few. I don't know, in March, I guess, I reactivated my Facebook account. I had it inactive or deactivated, whatever the word is, for about 3 years. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of people I haven't been in touch with. And to be honest, sadly, there's people where I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, based on our mutual friends, I think I know you from this stage of my life, but I'm not sure. So maybe I'm not super awesome at keeping in touch. I'll keep in touch with those that I need. As Jessa just said, like, Erin is sweet and gives amazing gifts. And just last week, we went out for my birthday and she just gives wonderful gifts. Everybody needs an Erin birthday gift. Just gonna say.
Let's just say clearance. Clearance is my best friend, and I find things and I'm like, okay, this person would love that. And so I save it.
And then she like stocks up. Like, she has little gift bags all ready to go.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
I do. You never know when you're going to need a gift for somebody.
Well, when you were talking, when Jess was talking about breaking the ice, it reminded me of an awesome Erin gift story. Do you want to share it? Because you were there. I just heard about secondhand about a friend of ours who slipped and fell on the ice, and Erin came. Do you remember?
What? I don't remember?
So,
no.
Yeah,
yes.
she fell and hit her head. So now, do you remember, Erin? Do you want to tell the rest?
Well, I don't like. I remember her falling, but I don't remember what I did.
You don't remember that you did?
Okay,
you brought
going.
her. What's it called? I don't know if you brought her icebreakers or like some sort of ice gum. What's it called?
Oh. Yeah, that sounds like me.
So she brought she showed up with like icebreakers or some sort of ice gum. I don't remember what the name of it is. And then you recited some song lyrics, I think. Is that true?
Ice Baby? Did I? Maybe?
I love that this is so normal in Erin's life. She doesn't even remember. She's like, yeah, that's pretty on brand for me.
Probably.
I'm always doing things to embarrass myself. So that sounds about right.
I don't think you necessarily embarrass yourself though, because I don't know, maybe you feel embarrassed. I guess that's your call. But whatever it is that you're doing, it's in order to bring a smile to someone else's face.
Maybe it could be embarrassing for someone, but it's not embarrassing for me, but it could be embarrassing for me, I guess.
Well, I think that especially when you're making new friendships, though, you need that sort of personality so it's interesting, Anne, that you picked both Erin and I, because I think we represent sort of two different dynamics that happen with people or that can happen. And, if you look at it as like, there's the type of personality that is the initiator, like Erin, and then there's the one that's maybe more reserved, like me. So I think back to when I was in Spain, there was this mom who was president of the PTA, and her name was Marianne. And she was so great about saying hello to me and making sure I was included and including me on all of the texts. And we started, you'll get this, walking together. Once a week, we would go walking together. And she did not speak any English, like literally. Oh, wow. And she was also of the opinion that I should definitely be speaking Spanish. Correctly so. I was living in Spain. I don't disagree with that. But it was incredibly awkward at times. But she was always so kind. We were invited to her daughter's birthday party. She made sure that she had gifts for my girls when it was their birthday. She was checking in. She was the one who set up the volunteer opportunities for me. And so, it's so important to be able to have that personality. But at the same time, if you're, like me, maybe a little more introverted or nervous, you really need to be able to be willing to reach out when necessary, but also be able to accept that into your life and be able to recognize it and realize what a gift that is and go with the flow and kind of take that momentum and keep going with it.
That's true. And to be able to reciprocate it, I guess, to let them know that their efforts are worth it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, Erin, have you ever had someone who rejected you? Sounds like a weird term.
I don't know. I come on pretty strong. So if I'm not their type of person, then yeah, they've rejected me. I moved to another side of the valley, right? And this girl, she invited me to a play date, and I brought all my kids. I was excited to meet other new moms in the area. And I showed up and no one was there. Nobody, not one. And so I just drove home and cried because I was like, is she not like what happened? I don't know what happened. And so I think, yes, sometimes people realize okay, she's a little bit coming on a little too strong for me. Sometimes they warm up because I had another friend that I went up to her. I knew her husband in college and I was like, hey, I'm Erin. I know you. I know you. And she's like, okay, I don't know you. And she was standoffish for a long time with me. And I just wanted to be her friend because I didn't know anybody except her husband. Eventually she warmed up And we're actually really good friends now, but it just took a little bit of time.
Erin actually gave me some advice. So when I most recently moved, I moved into an area where Erin's sister had used to live. We just missed each other by like a month or so. But Erin had said, oh, there's this girl who goes to church with my sister who's just fantastic and you should get to know her. So I saw this person at church and I was like, hi, you don't know who I am, but I know Erin and Erin's sister, and they said you're fabulous. And she threw that. So that was me being brave and bold.
Yeah.
And
that was brave.
Know, it was awkward. It felt awkward, but she's fabulous. And so she and I have actually become really good friends. And so I did a good job of trying to be
good job. I'm proud of you.
But so in these friendships that we've made, we've talked a little bit about how the three of us have been able to help each other through different things. But in what other ways have you been blessed? So the whole concept of this podcast is to talk about people who've helped shine light in our paths. So I feel like Erin's done a good job of making sure she's shining light in others' paths. And I know Jess and I both can attest that she's done that for us. But what are ways in which these friendships that you've put some effort into making, what are ways in which you've been blessed by making those friendships? That's a tough one. So if you need to think,
yeah. I would say, and I wasn't really going to the temple a ton before you invited me to come with you. And I'm going to cry a little because like it was a huge blessing just to meet up with you and go worship in the house of God. And I know that was just a small act on your part because you were like, I'm going anyway. But I was hugely blessed by that. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm sad that we haven't been able to go for a long time.
And also, like Jessa, when we kind of moved away from each other around town, like if any of us were going somewhere fun or on a little vacation or something, we would get together and we would go get our nails done. And like I never got my nails done before Jessa and I started doing that.
And I don't now either.
I don't either. But in that time, my nails never looked so good.
Exactly.
And that was our little time that we could just like chat and do something fun for ourselves. And it was amazing. I loved it.
That's so true. And it's so nice to be able to have friends for like those really fun kind of frivolous moments, but it always turns into good conversation. The friends that I've been able to make that have really sort of lasted with me, and sometimes they're not even friends, they're for periods of time and they're in circumstances that I need them. And there have been so many women that I have needed them in a real way. There have been things that I have not been able to do or would not have been able, situations that I've found myself in that I would not have been able to navigate as easily without their help. And truly, so vulnerability, I think, plays such a big part in being able to make those friends and being able to ask for help and accept that help right before, again, we moved here to North Carolina. Paul, my husband, and I got so sick and the moving truck had showed up. And I remember laying on the floor, packing and just like trying to get within reach. And I had called my friend, Chrisanna, and I said, can you please just come help with something? I said, maybe you could pack up Paul's grandmother's china. Like I couldn't think of like, and she did. We were both so sick, but she came in anyway. She brought bubble wrap and tape and boxes and she packed all of my china for me. And then I didn't know it until months later, till we had moved and had the moving truck and everything. We were unpacking. She had labeled all of those boxes really funny things so that when people were unloading our stuff, they saw, oh, this box is labeled magic tricks or like juggling props. So they were all like really funny things so that I had that memory of her coming over to help me, but also like this really just sweet, tender reminder once we were here. And I was feeling super lonely that, she had come over to help me.
Oh,
I think, Jessa, you've probably had most experience with making friends outside of our Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And in what ways has that blessed you as far as having a better, kind of a well-rounded perception of church and church policies and things like that, and just making sure that you, I don't know, understand other perspectives?
Sure. Do we have time for a whole separate podcast episode on this?
We probably could. That might be a good one.
Yeah, I have lots to say on this issue. So my husband also is no longer a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and living where we do, there are not a lot of members either. So especially these past few years have really given me lots of opportunity to, it's always something I knew and believed, but didn't really have, quite frankly, much access to people of different faiths. Mm-hmm. And here I have been able to see it firsthand in action. And I know for multiple of my friends, I'm the first member of the church that they've ever met. And so it's really kind of a sweet, special thing to be able to interact with them and see how they love their God, mm-hmm. and how they love their friends and their family, and how much we really do have in common. And that's strengthening, I think, on both ends. Neither of us are trying, to convince either way, or why don't you be my friend so we can go to Bible study together, or, whatever. It's not, mm-hmm. it's not like that on either end. And it's just so sweet and special to be able to see that in action. What was your question? I feel like maybe I didn't answer it.
Yeah, you did. You answered it.
Okay.
But I feel like I've been seeing that a lot recently too, as far as just, I have a number of friends nearby who are not members of our faith. And I grew up outside of the church. So I have a number of friends, like a lot of friends in that regard. And it's been nice because doing this podcast, sometimes we'll send some episodes or some topics or ideas to people who aren't members of the church, just to kind of say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? We don't want to alienate anybody. We want people to be able to have a desire to listen to this no matter what their background is. What are your thoughts? And that's been an interesting experience as well. And like you said, it's not I'm trying to convince you that this is right or this is wrong or whatever. It's just to recognize what all we have in common. And there is a ton that we have in common. I think especially right now in the current political climate, it's so important to recognize that we're all on the same team. And that,
yeah. And if we're not, how do we navigate that well?
Yeah.
That's another really important piece, because it's not always going to be complete harmony.
Yeah.
That's the reality of life and any relationship. So being able to have a connection with someone who you feel differently mm-hmm. from, in some areas is also super important.
Exactly. Erin, any thoughts?
I cherish my friends inside and outside of our faith. And I just think they're all important. We all have something to give to one another, whether we believe the same or not. So yeah.
We can all kind of help share light with each other in all the different ways. And I think, especially when it comes to making mom friends, one of my hesitations, because I'm not the go-getter that Erin is, I'm always like, oh, that person is so busy. I don't want to bug her. I don't want to, ask her if she wants to get together to do something, because I'm sure she's so busy. But I know sometimes in my life I've been pretty busy, and I'll get a text from someone saying, hey, do you want to do this or do you want to do this? And it's always a relief. Yes, I do. So I think that's kind of a big takeaway too, is to not worry about that. And if someone says no, it doesn't mean that they're rejecting you. It may just not fit into their schedule at that moment in time, but that we can definitely make it a matter of prayer, or just trying to ask for guidance to be able to be led to those that, one, we can bless their lives and they can bless ours. And I think sometimes that's an interesting perspective to look at it too, is who can I serve or who can I bless? And in doing so, you're able to make these good friendships. Thank you all for listening today. I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation about the importance of effort and vulnerability in friendship. I hope you've been able to reflect back on your friendships and think about how effort and vulnerability have helped to strengthen those friendships. The pebble for this week is to try to go a little bit out of your comfort zone to reach out to a new or old friend sometime this week. For some, going a little bit out of your comfort zone may consist of sending a text that says, want to get some tacos on Thursday? For others, it might include singing Vanilla Ice while dropping off a pack of gum. You do you. I'll do me. I'm the taco friend. Don't forget to check out Jessa's awesome dolls at Sebastian Design Dolls on Instagram and head over to AnnMaxon.com to get your free gift guide for the games. We'll see you next week. Keep working to identify those bright spots on your path. Thank you for tuning in today. More than what has been said, I hope that you've been able to listen to your thoughts and feelings. Maybe you've thought of someone who has brought light to your path. Let them know of your gratitude. Maybe you've been inspired as to how to add some light to your own path or the path of another. Do your best to act on those feelings and impressions. I would love to learn more about you and your experiences. Please come find me on Instagram and Facebook at Pebbles of Light. If you like what you hear, please review so we can spread this light further. You can find show notes and more resources at AnnMaxon.com. Until next time.